Scientists from Denmark, Greenland, have been regularly visiting the giant frozen island since the 1970s, bringing back deep-drilled, tube-shaped ice cores to study in sophisticated laboratories back home. If stacked end-to-end, the large frosty collection would now stretch more than 20 kilometers. It is kept constantly chilled in large freezers at minus 30 degrees Celsius. An international team of scientists is now studying not the frozen ice chunks, but frosty deposits of muddy sediment and pebbles that once lay 1.4 kilometers beneath the ice sheet's surface.
It contains freeze-dried fossils of plants from a tundra ecosystem that used to live in Greenland when that ice sheet had melted away in the past. And we're trying to learn more about what that environment was like, what the climate conditions were like at that time, and use that information to understand how sensitive the Greenland ice sheet may be to melting under human-caused climate change in the future. This one is probably about 1,390 meters below the current surface of the Greenland ice sheet. We can see little pebbles along with smaller pieces of clay. So this had been covered up by ice for a very long time, and we're the first group of scientists to actually study this material.
The team plans to use a method known as luminescence dating to learn how long ago the sediment's mineral grains were last exposed to direct sunlight.
These packages of soil, these cores, are like time capsules from the past. And when we look at them, we can figure out clues about what it used to be like, what types of plants were there, and how warm it may have been in the past, and how much smaller the Greenland ice sheet was. So by cracking open these sediments for the very first time, we're able to learn more about what it used to be like in the past.
Combined with other measurements, it could reveal temperatures when the Greenland ice sheet last melted away. Initial results reported last year suggested the ice sheet had been absent within the last million years.
With this research, we are hoping to learn more about past times when this part of Greenland melted away, and then understand what climate was like at those times. How much warmer was it at that point? What was different about Earth's climate system at those times versus today? And what does that tell us about how sensitive Greenland is to melting in the future?
According to a study published last year, Greenland lost a record amount of ice during an extra warm 2019. The melt, massive, was enough to cover California in more than 4 feet of water.
The big question is, can the Greenland survive at a plus 2 degree warming, and what duration is necessary to produce a partial or total melting of the Greenland? So for that, we have to look into the past.
All the meteorological measurements and atmospheric measurements humans have done in the last 100 years or so are already influenced by climate change that is human caused. So if we want to see the natural state of climate and natural variability, then we need to go way, way further back in time. And our archives provide this window into the past.
It's estimated that the giant frozen island contains enough ice to make world sea levels rise by 20 feet if it were all to melt.
My view is that the information we provide as scientists is sort of a manual of this is how the Earth works. If you add too much carbon to the atmosphere, it's going to get too warm, you're going to melt the ice sheets, you're going to change weather patterns, and it's going to make life very difficult for us as humans. Or we can look towards a different path with less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and a future that is not as uncertain and difficult for us.